Hello and welcome to coverage of Grand Prix Pittsburgh. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with Randy Bueller, and it is the end of a long day, round number 9 here. And we've got Daniel Ward, Hexproof, most people call it Bogles or Bogles, and he's up against Gerard Fabiano. GFabs himself playing blue-white extra turns, and you'll see shortly maybe why that deck is named that way. I will say, though, that, Daniel Ward's deck is pretty fast, right? This Boggles deck can get some really nice starts on it. And, thank you, Daniel. I appreciate that. You're a very nice guy. That's 5 damage on turn 2, attacking Gerard, who's done the sum total of playing a tap land so far.
Yeah, I was going to say, this doesn't seem like a matchup where Daniel's Hexproof is suddenly going to defeat Gerard's ability to interact with him, because Gerard doesn't really interact. He just kind of does his own thing, too. It's not the most interactive of decks. It's not like he has, he has one copy of Path to Exile. He has, it's a bunch of one-ofs, fun-ofs. But it's not a dedicated removal deck the way, it's not going to be just blanked by Hexproof. Now, the way in which Daniel's deck might be a bad matchup for Gerard is if he can get this draw, then he can just kill Gerard before Gerard's able to build up enough mana to actually start taking extra turns.
I mean, looking at Gerard's list, it's pretty dead here.
Can chump block with a Snapcaster.
Yeah.
Rancors kind of make that
Rancor
really
makes that bad. I'm seeing the same thing with Timely Reinforcements. Might be able to buy Gerard a turn. Yeah, but he's taking a ton of damage here. Reasonable chance, by the way, that Dan Ward does not know what Fabiano's up to yet.
Sure.
I mean, it looks like maybe a Jeskai deck or some type of control deck.
Jeez.
Is that a Hyena Umbra?
It is.
Yeah, all right. So make it 6 damage here. And perhaps more importantly, the ability to not get wrathed 2 turns from now. But that's not what Gerard's doing. Right? It's just not on the docket for Fabiano, who's now down to 8 life. That was turn 3 for Dan Ward. I mean, this is just a beating. That might have just been GG. Like, when he went Rancor, that could have just been like, yep, go to game 2.
Yeah, I was about to suggest that Gerard wouldn't care. He cares about the super aggro draw. He doesn't care about the Hexproof draw.
Exactly. Like, the fact that his Hexproof doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter much.
But a 5-power creature on turn 2 that's attacking matters a lot. Yeah, I mean, because you got to look, like, Gerard has a lot of cards in his deck that don't do anything to the board. Your Dictative Crew Fix and that kind of thing just doesn't get the job done.
Yeah, Gerard thinking about the Serum Visions, but I don't know how he stitches it together from here.
I mean, I'm looking at the list and trying to find something. Not finding it.
And his sideboard does give him more ability to interact with a creature deck. A couple Path to Exile. Only 1 Supreme Verdict, though. A couple Spell Skites. Maybe bring those in and try to block with them. Steal some enchantments. Down to 2.
All right, he finds a Scout here, which should set up the kill next turn.
Yeah.
Telling time.
Still don't know what son Allen is playing, but he already took a game from Sam Black. That was fast.
Wow, that was really quick. Okay, so this is stage 1 here. He's set up Temporal Mastery to take another turn, which is the cheapest way he can accomplish this goal.
Got it. Telling time is pretty nice there, actually. 1 on the top, 1 in the graveyard, 1 in your hand.
Yeah, I mean, that's really nice here. I'm trying to figure out where the game goes forward, right? Like, so let's say Gerard takes a few turns in a row and builds up mana. How does he... Like I don't think in game 1 that he can ever actually take care of that ball.
No, he has to take all the turns.
He has to go infinite.
Well, not infinite. He just has to go to enough turns to attack for 20 with Colonnade. In fact, attack for 16 with Colonnade.
Okay.
He just needs 4 attacks.
Just needs 4 attacks.
How hard is that?
While casting cards that take him an extra turn and activating cards.
Some of them give him 2 extra turns.
Oh, man.
Temporal Mastery is nice here. That is how he suddenly gets to 5, where a Time Warp becomes possible. Down to 1, but I don't know.
Take a turn.
I'm rooting for him. I want to see him.
I want to see it too. I can't lie. I want to see it too.
Prairie Stream. That doesn't even come into play untapped.
No. Packing them up.
I mean, look, I don't recognize those cards from the left-hand sliver. I think it's a Narset, a Prairie Stream, and some other cards. I don't know how he stays alive if he says go. And I don't see how he takes another turn from here.
Yeah, both creatures are lethal as well. All right, so Gerard Fabiano is going to have to pack him up after a really quick draw there.
Oh, Cryptic Command
from
would
Dan
help
Ward.
tap all your guys.
That works. That does work.
Get a couple of those.
That's like a time walk.
Everything's like a time walk.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was game 1 there, putting Daniel Ward just 1 game away from making it into day 2 and sending Gerard Fabiano packing. Gerard's going to have to win back-to-back games with this take extra turns blue-white deck against Bogles if he's going to make it in. It's going to be tough, I think. Let's take a look at our back match here where we have Corey Burkhart playing Naya Company. He's up against Kyle Boggemes, who's on Grixis control. Now, these players are 7-1, so a loss does not eliminate them from day 2 contention, but it does put them in a much tougher spot for top 8 versus coming in at 1 loss. Yeah, so clearly Kyle's the one on Naya Company here. We had those flopped, but I think from the board state that is pretty clear. And I'm pretty sure Kyle drew a Path to Exile there to go with his Knight of the Reliquary here. This is a much, much different looking match than the one we saw before. A lot of interaction going here. Here's Burkhart activating his Tassiger and saying, what do you want to give me? Serum Visions, another Tassiger, a Thought Scour. The other Tassiger seems to be the obvious choice, and Kyle's going to make that. Okay, terminate to take down the knight right away. But it still doesn't look like Corey has any clean attacks here, so he's just going to have to shift the turn back to Kyle, who also doesn't really have any clean attacks unless he can get rid of Tassiger the Golden Fang. And actually, this may open it up. He, I believe, can attack now with his Smiter, right?
Exalted Trigger helps.
Yeah, trade it off for Tassiger. It's a little awkward that he just gave him a Tassiger back, but... Maybe I don't know that just sitting here really benefits him either. because Corey does have another Tassiger activation at the ready, and he's just going to keep doing that if the board stays stalled. Tarmographic has arrived.
Snapcaster for Terminate.
Not bad. Now he's got 2 Snapcasters on the battlefield. They're still just kind of staring each other down, but you got to figure that Corey with his Tassiger just benefits in this in a pretty big way. Looks like Tarmographics overstayed his welcome a little bit, but whoop, there he goes. So this is now double Tassiger activations per turn? Yikes. Main phase that one passed. Okay. Another Sully Pride Mage. Still no attacks.
More Snapcasters.
Cancel. He may have said go to attacks there, and Corey might have done that before. All right, let's jump back over to our other match. I got to see how this thing ends, though. I feel like it might not end well for Gerard. I don't want to give up on him, but that just seems so rough for him to deal with in that first game.
The Bogles deck doesn't hit that hard that fast consistently.
Dude, it hits.
Yeah, but it's like...
You're right. That was a particular... Like, double Rancor is...
Right, I'm used to turn 3 Armadillo Cloak, right? That's the speed it often operates at.
I don't know. I feel like they can get it up to 2 to 4 power pretty easily in the first 2 turns. You know, like by turn 3 they can attack for that, and then you get your cloaks or whatever.
That's slower than attacking for 5 on turn 2.
Right, and the double Rancor draw is nasty, no doubt.
Nasty when you don't have a blocker.
Ever. In your deck.
Yeah.
That's a Spider Umbra. All right, that's a little more reasonable. Now, if he's got something else to go with it, I saw he's got a Daybreak Coronet in his hand, but that's never coming down. Dryad Arbor. Telling time. All right, so this is what you wanted, Randy, right? This is like, give a little breathing room here for Gerard. Now, let's see what he can do with it. Being attacked for 2, not a big deal.
There's a Time Warp in his hand. That costs 5. Cryptic Command there. And I think a Spellskite. Serum Visions finds an island.
Yeah, keep those land drops flowing for Gerard.
Definitely important.
This deck is slow. It's a little clunky. Spellskite. That helps. That helps a lot. I mean, Gerard's slated to take, what, a damage this turn? Live with that. And now Dan has got to figure out how he wants to attack this.
So this draw is slightly slower from Daniel Ward.
Yes.
Turn 3, attack for 1.
All right, so
Still only have one land.
I gotta figure Gerard's supposed to win this game, right?
Yeah, if Gerard doesn't win this game, then I am ready to give up on this deck.
Like, this is a slow mana draw from Daniel Ward, and not a lot of action to follow up with when he did hit his mana too. So, and remember, the Hexproof deck doesn't do a whole lot of interacting either. So Gerard should just have his way here, and he's going to play Timely Reinforcements.
Sure.
That's nice. Man, Spellskite is such a wrecking ball. It's going to blank a lot of the auras that Dan wants to play. He can still sneak a few of them through. Gaddock Teeg. That seems pretty good.
It does.
That's all of Gerard's take extra turn spells now are just bricks. He's going to have to
Just
get
all
rid
of
of
them.
Teeg.
Only all of them.
Yeah, only all. I'm
Right.
counting them.
The question is, how many ways does Gerard have in his deck after sideboarding to kill a creature? I mean, he's going to have it. Oh, I was going to say bounce with Cryptic Command, but that doesn't work.
He does have a Path to Exile in the main and 2 in the board, so 3 of those.
Right, but how many are you going to have after sideboarding against Bogles?
I would say on average you'd have a half. Like, you
Yeah.
may leave
He might
one
have 0,
in.
he
Yeah,
might have 1.
Right.
I mean, he
No,
might have
that's-
1 be out of fear of something like a Gaddock Teeg.
No, you're right. This is terrible for him. Just terrible. He has 11 take an extra turn spells. Here's a Dictative Crucifix. He's going to flash it in on end step and let the card start flowing, but
What is the exact wording on Gaddock Teeg?
can't cast non-creature spells with converted mana cost 4 or higher.
Like
or spells
Dictative
with
Crucifix?
it's 3.
Oh, it's 3.
Blue one, yeah. And you can't cast spells with X in their cost. Yeah, he's
Thinking of a different. Sorry, I was thinking of a different dictate.
so he's gonna have to. I mean, I'm assuming that he's got something in his deck somewhere here.
Is it can't cast them or they're countered? It's can't cast.
You just
right?
can't even put them on the stack. All right. Well, now here's a plan.
attack
ya.
with
Yeah.
attack with Colonnade.
Just start doing that. Maybe he can just race him.
That's legit.
I think it is too. I mean, I don't think Daniel's going to have a way to deal with the Colonnade. Gerard is ahead in the damage race. He has got blockers on the ground. He's got a Spellskite that can steal any auras, or most of the auras that Dan Ward wants to try to play. Now, if Dan has a Daybreak Coronet here, then he's in business. 10 he does. Because that's one that the Spellskite cannot steal. As the Spellskite's not a legal target for it. And Gerard's going over this now because it's a weird interaction. But yeah, you can't.
Got to steal something else first, Gerard.
Yeah. And the Coronet, is going to allow Dan to start, racing here.
For sure.
This is a major issue for Gerard.
This
That
seems like a
thing
problem.
is now 5/5,
Yeah,
first strike, lifelink, vigilance, reach. And I did say reach.
Reach.
And vigilance. So he gets to just bash to his heart's content, and then Gerard can't even get him back with the Colonnade.
Gerard is hoping against hope that this judge call will result in him somehow being able to steal it with Spellskite.
Yeah, I mean, he's just going to get clarification to make sure that he understands exactly what the targeting restriction is and how it works, but it doesn't work. Yeah, it's just spell. And this is tricky because when you ask a judge this, they will say, "Yeah, you can target it with Spellskite's ability. When it resolves, it won't actually go onto Spellskite, and that's the key here."
Right. The question, can I target Daybreak Coronet with
Yeah.
Spellskite? The answer is yes.
You can. And Spellskite is the weirdest card in that way. But what's going to happen here is Dan Ward is going to end up with a real nasty slippery Bogle, and I don't know how Gerard gets out of this. I just don't.
Yeah, Gaddock Teeg's definitely Gaddock Teeg's the real problem.
Major.
But
major.
Gerard's backup plan to beat Gaddock Teeg was to fly over with Colonnade, and now Coronet beats that in multiple ways.
Multiple ways, yeah. Yeah, really tough for Gerard here. Ward hitting that white mana just in time for Teeg because, I think Gerard was going to go, okay, here we go. I've got a Dictative Crucifix out, and now I'm going to start playing, and this is how it goes, right? They've got 11 taking extra turn spells. I see in his hand he has at least one Time Warp.
He has 3.
Okay, you have 3.
And a Cryptic Command. That's his hand. Time Warp, Time Warp, Time Warp, Cryptic Command with a Howling Mind in play.
Yeah. So he would just go off.
He's off to the races.
He would take 6 turns for 12 cards and hit mana every single time.
And then have the 12 cards off the top to keep going.
Many of them will be play more thing. He was ready to go off. But Dan Ward with the 6 sideboard tech, Gaddock Teeg has many uses, but the fact that Gerard just can't get Gaddock Teeg off the table unless he did leave in some amount of Path to Exiles means he is just in a super tough spot. Now, the good news is for him is that if Gerard did leave in paths, any of them, the Bogle can be chumped multiple times here.
Yeah.
And he could find it, kill Teeg, and then go bang, 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 and, start gaining the turns and doing the stuff.
He has to kill Teeg, though. No longer has race. If I was Gerard, honestly, I'd have a Supreme Verdict in my deck is what I'd have. But that doesn't work either. That's why I was saying, does Gaddock Teeg counter them? No. Supreme Verdict's you can't counter me tech does not, in fact, be Gaddock Teeg. Gaddock Teeg says you can't even play your Supreme Verdict. It's a one of in Dan Ward's sideboard. Earning its keep this weekend.
All right, and what's happening here, by the way, is Gerard's not in the tank. The judges are just double-checking about the way that Spellskite interacts with Daybreak Coronet. And you can see Dan's kind of laughing about it, but Gerard's not. And I don't blame him. He's in a tough spot here. But Gerard's smiling, as always.
It's enchant creature with another aura attached to it. I can't imagine that somehow winds up on Spellskite.
So that's Lems, Jason LeMahieu there. He's one of our many head judges here. And so they're making sure with him, and this is, of course, the correct thing to do, is to just double check, because these are very strange little interactions that pop up, especially in Modern with such a wide card pool where, you see like cards like Daybreak Coronet, which is just not a card that sees play anywhere else. And confirmed, though, you may not steal Daybreak Coronet with Spellskite, and now Gerard's on the clock. Oh, Nature's Claim, too, to kill Spellskite. And Dan knew that interaction. He's played this deck a ton, so he knew it was up. Because he could have just done that first if he was worried about it, but he's not. And here's a Spider Umbra, and this actually, this is okay. This is basically Dan hedging against a sweeper of some sort. I don't know what.
Right, a less than
what
4
is
mana
it?
sweeper?
Yeah, what is it? I don't know. Anyway, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's path or die here.
Right, path
after a
does
couple
still,
turns.
Path does still beat the Umbra.
Yeah.
Right, the Umbra's regeneration ability only beats a destroy effect. It doesn't beat Path's exile
That's
effect.
correct. And the thing is, we don't know
Neither
if
does
Gerard left in any paths. He has one main 2 board, and what you said earlier makes a lot of, are you really bringing in paths against Hexproof?
Hexproof, yeah.
No, you're just not. And you're probably taking out your other path, which I don't know where that leaves us here from Gerard's side.
Hoping that there's some way to win that he's not thinking of.
I'm going to read the castable spells as the board sits for Gerard. He's got, out of his board, 2 paths, which we don't think are in, 2 negates, which don't do anything, a Celestial Purge, which does nothing. He can cast a Restoration Angel, which he doesn't have in his
spell,
hand. 2 Meddling Mages, 2/8. 2 Hercule's Recall, does nothing. He can't cast Sphinx's Revelation. He can cast a Vendilion Click and the second Spellskite. None of those get the job done here. Out of his main deck, he can cast Serum Visions, Giga Drowse, Remand, Telling Time, Snapcaster. He can cast another Timely Reinforcements, another Dictate, a Jace. Can't cast Narset, Cryptic, Tameo, Time Warp, Walk the Eons, Temporal Mastery, or Temporal Trespass. Yeah, he's in a real tough spot here.
He's going to enjoy his time on camera until his weekend ends.
And then he's going to enjoy his Sunday, I think, because this is a tough spot for Gerard. Yeah, whatever. Well, now it has Trample, actually, so that actually matters in a pretty big way. Before, Gerard was actually set up to chump block with soldiers and buy himself a draw step or two, but Unflinching Courage is going to give Trample. The lifelink doesn't seem relevant here, but Crunch. Gaddock Teeg seems to be a pretty easy chump block. And Gerard's going to trade off Soldier for Dryad Arbor and Soldier for Glade Cover Scout.
Sure.
But he's taking a ton of damage here. Takes 7, falls down to 6, and is facing lethal. So it's do or die here for Gerard. And yeah, I don't know what
He's dead.
I guess he could draw path, and then start taking turns.
I don't think this matchup is actually this bad, but I don't think it's good. Didn't really get to see the Time Walk deck do its thing, which is
so close. He was a turn away.
Yeah.
He was going to take 3 to 4 turns minimum. So does Colonnade block keep him alive here? 2, 3, 4. No, I don't think it does.
I don't think it does either.
No. Cryptic is not castable. Gaddock Teeg is just, he's smiling at me. He's just, see that wry grin on his face? He's looking at Gerard like, nice deck. Teeg just says no to everything. Right? He's just like, nah. Game. And that's going to do it. Dan Ward beats Gerard Fabiano. Tough games there for Gerard. I mean, the matchup does seem bad, but Dan had a really nice draw in game 1 and just put the heat on him so quickly that it didn't matter.
Yeah, and then game 2, he had the sideboard of Gaddock Teeg.
In the nick of time. Yeah, he found his Gaddock Teeg.
Well, he had the Gaddock Teeg the whole time. He found his mana.
The mana at the right moment, and it locked out Gerard from half of his deck and many of the most important cards.
Oh, from one hoser to another. Choke.
Whoa.
Is on the table for Kyle Boggemes.
You know, you don't see choke as often as I thought you would.
Sure.
In Modern, or as I think you could. But when it comes down, it's mean.
Yeah. You know who it's really good against?
Who's that?
Grixis.
Yes.
Grixis and Merfolk. But even the Merfolk deck usually has non-islands. We tap for blue anyway.
Is it good? Would you say it's good? We came in time just to see Corey Burkhart scoop up his permanents. And as we go to game 3 here, Kyle Boggemes, with a well-timed choke, it takes out 2 lands and threatens to take out the other 2. And Corey says,
it turns the rest
enough.
into Lotus Petals.
Right. Don't forget the World Magic Cup big event coming up December 11th through 13th. We're going to be in Barcelona, Spain, bringing you the action. You can root for your home country or whoever you want. It's awesome. It has a totally different vibe to any Magic tournament throughout the course of the year. There's a couple that stand out.
It really does.
You know, Worlds has a different vibe, World Championship, and World Magic Cup has a different vibe too. And it's great. Super, super fun. You'll see people dressed up, you know, representing their countries out there. There's a lot more on the line from a feel standpoint than an individual tournament. It's got that team feel, which is something we don't always get.
Right. It's both teams and countries.
Yes. Those are 2 different things that add up to a really, really special event. I mean, it's going to be really special until, you know, Team United States just wins it. But
We haven't won in a while.
I know. And I say this every time. It doesn't work. I think people know that doesn't work anymore. Though I have to say our team is bonkers.
Our team is very good
Not the
year.
only bonkers team. I agree.
I mean, and they did top 4.
They
It's not
did.
like
Yeah.
I think they were disappointed last year. I don't know how disappointing it is to finish top 4 at a tournament. Still got to play Magic.
Yeah. No, there's some really stacked teams too.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
So who's your pick? I asked Brian this question. I'll put you on the spot.
What country?
Sure. I mean, you've already declared it. You're not
Come
allowed
on,
to
dude.
take the U.S.
I'm not allowed to take the U.S.
Yeah, give me your dark horse pick. Which I guess means you can't take Japan either.
No, I won't take Japan. That's just like cheating, right? I'm thinking. Give me a minute. I mean,
Japan and Team USA are the only two teams that have 3 very familiar names. Like
okay.
3 legit premier event resume
So the first
players.
one that jumps to mind, I was going to try to get cute, but the one that really I think, if I'm going to pick not those two teams, is Canada.
Yes.
I think they're great. Sean McLaren and Alexander Hayne are both world-class players.
Sure.
And you put 2 names like that, and remember, out of 3 matches, 2 of those guys are likely to be playing each time. I don't really care who else is with them. As it turns out, they've got 2 respectable players that are going to certainly, put forth a good effort. But my goodness, world-class guys. I mean,
all right, my pick.
Yeah,
I'm going to go for Martin Mueller, Martin Dang.
Run back the Dane Blast.
Back to back Dane Blast.
Dude, I would not want to be on the other side of that either.
Yeah, Martin Mueller won a WMCQ.
That's insane. And now he's got Martin Dang with him, and they've got the pedigree. Yeah, no, that's a real team for sure.
Yeah, repeat's a legit storyline.
All right, turn 1, Wild Nakatl. It's already a 2-2. But Kyle Boggemes is on the draw here. So Corey's going to get a little bit of breathing room. Let's see if he finds a lightning bolt or something along those lines to take out the Nakatl while the taken out is good. You'll also see Corey probably play a little differently as far as his mana goes now that he's seen choke out of Kyle Boggemes. Oh, there's a bolt. Taking a look at the board now, for example, choke wouldn't do anything.
Right.
And I wouldn't be surprised if Corey's going to keep that true for as long as he can.
Sure.
Kyle's got 2 choke in the sideboard. Jace Vryn's Prodigy, and we're just trading cards at this point. It's the really cool part about this Naya Company deck that Kyle Boggemes is playing is that it can take this sort of assertive, cheap creature, cheap removal spell role, and then back it up with real card advantage too.
That's also the game Grixis likes to play, though. I mean, the Grixis deck... I'm watching Marshall in the booth be tempted. Our dinner has shown up. The Permanente Brothers sandwiches with the coleslaw and the French fries on top.
BDM just
a
laid
Pittsburgh
out
tradition.
a row of sandwiches in front of me and then just walked away. How dare he? No, we've got more important things than sandwiches. We've got a game 3 here. Now, again, both of these players are going to make it into day 2, but the difference between coming in with 1 loss and 2 losses is going to be really big on their chances to make the top 8. So this is an important match for these guys, no doubt about it.
I mean, it seems to me the Grixis deck is better in this late game. Like, we trade, we 2 for 1, but both decks kind of have this.
They do.
Similar grindy mentality.
I think your instinct is right, though.
In completely different colors.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is that basically every card that Corey plays is going to give him access to some form of 2 for 1 or another, if it's not like a card selection type spell.
Right.
And that's not true for Kyle. He plays cards like Tarmogoyf.
And Nakatl.
And Nakatl, those get killed, and then they get snapcastered back, and then Nakatl gets killed. That kind of thing happens pretty frequently.
Rise
is that a
and
rise
fall.
and fall? All right.
Yeah, you see a lot of rise and falls out of these Grixis decks now. Bounce your Kitchen Finks, play my Jace.
That is impressive.
Kyle does have a choke in his hand, by the way. Only locks down 1 lane, though.
So he's got to decide, because he does have a grip. I think he's got 6 to 7 cards in hand. So. Do you want to put some pressure up? Maybe he has an answer for Jace. Does he need to use that right now?
Boy, the rise and fall
is almost always yes.
Which makes that rise and fall really good here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Kyle spent his entire turn doing 1 3-mana thing. And now it's back in his hand. It's like, does he really want to do 1 thing again this turn?
Yeah. He does. Oh, and Jace Vryn's Prodigy is going to get transformed here. Maybe just run that back again.
The rise fall?
Yeah.
Is there a regrowth target, or are we in him to Turok mode now?
I think he just would be hemming. All right.
What else is Corey going to do with his turn, though? He has a Liliana. Does his mana let him go Liliana and Rise and Fall? I forget which. I get the colors on Rise and Fall mixed up.
Liliana. You sacrifice a creature. Looks like is what he did, and then is he just gonna?
It's just pluses.
He's just gonna plus it, and that basically nullifies the Kitchen Finks. What it also does, though, it does leave Jace open here, without getting any actual value. But yeah, this is just slow for Kyle Boggemes. I mean, he played Kitchen Finks twice in a row, and then he just got his Night of the Reliquary terminated here. And this is tough because Corey's pulling significantly ahead with every one of these sequences. Planeswalkers are now active. He's getting ahead on mana.
He's going to decide what to do with Liliana.
Yeah, the thing is, Kyle does have a ton of cards in his hand still.
Yeah. I mean, you want to plus her. So, yeah, bolt that half of the Kitchen Finks. Now plus Liliana. No cards in Corey's hand. But the Smiter comes back.
Smiter.
All right,
and
fine.
terminate that. So, once again, Corey Burkhart maneuvering beautifully here and gets himself into a position where he's got 2 active Planeswalkers on the battlefield. Sure, he doesn't have any cards left in his hand, and Kyle does, but Kyle stumbled on mana for a long time now and has just not been able to efficiently deploy threats.
Corey's also managed to do well this one, not opening himself up to choke.
Yeah. Yeah, he only has the one still, right? Just the island? Nice.
This is a tricky turn, though. 2 Nakaddles. And I don't think Corey's particularly interested in suiciding his Planeswalkers to kill Nakaddles.
I think you're right.
But he kind of has to kill one of them, or...
Their Planeswalkers are dying anyway.
Right. So,
Right.
So which one of his Planeswalkers does he suicide? He decides on Jace for Rise and Fall. So bounce and Nakaddle. Wow, he does suicide them both. But that's funny.
But he
Rise
gets
and
the
Fall.
Jace.
He could have used Jace to get a Lightning Bolt to just straight kill the Nakaddle. Instead, he decided to bounce Nakaddle and raise dead the Jace.
Mm-hmm.
That's cute.
I like it. Yeah,
Just flash back a Lightning Bolt, but this way he's still got, next turn, he's got a Jace with 5 loyalty.
as opposed to nothing. So yeah,
Well, 5, he'll have to go down, flashing back with Jace to kill the Nakaddle.
to kill the replacement Nakaddle, sure. But he was going to have to kill his Jace either way.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is great for Corey Burkhart. The interesting dynamic here, of course, is that Kyle's the one who's been stuck on mana for this whole game and had his stuff bounced over and over and killed. And, now he's finally able to start deploying multiple cards per turn and make Corey react after Corey, he is hellbent. I mean, not now, but he's low on cards. Jace helps, though. His hand is dismember land. You also see him discarding islands and cards that can get islands here. 2 steam vents in his yard.
How big is Night of the Reliquary? Can it be dismembered?
Yes. It's a 5/5.
Well, that works. Just barely.
Yep. Just the exact right amount. And once again, we see Corey Burkhart maneuver into a board state where he's got a Planeswalker and Kyle has nothing. I wonder when Kyle drew that Wooded Foothills. He'll be pretty bummed if he had it in his hand and could have played it last turn. But I don't know if that's the case. Okay, well,
There's the choke.
he's going to play choke just to get it out of his hand
And
here.
the Thalia. Both of which have been floating around Kyle's hand for basically the entire game.
Yeah, and this was kind of his big finish. So this is a huge turn for Corey. If he can come up with something to add to the board, he can be in business. Oh, and he did. He found Kolagon's command. That's nice. Because right now, the board's at parity anyway.
Pay an extra. Kill Thalia.
Discard that. Yeah, all right. I mean, Thalia wasn't doing much against Jace anyway, but sure. Yeah, that choke is still out there. So he's cashing in Jace here, and he's just going to Kolagon's command and get it back. And hit you for 2. And replay Jace. Oh, and there's the tar pit.
That is funny. I have not seen a Jace commit suicide this many times in a while.
And still be on the battlefield every time.
Right, but he's going to get a loot out of it.
Yeah. It's just always there.
He gets a loot and some loyalty.
Whoop. And he does need action here, too. Like, discarding islands here is great for him.
Exactly.
Maybe we'll build this deck. I kind of like what I'm seeing from Burkhart here.
Oh, the Grixis control deck? Yeah, if you haven't played Grixis control in Modern, this is your Modern deck. It is just
I have not played this
pure
deck in Modern.
value.
I am in.
Yeah, like I was saying earlier in the day, it's been a borderline dominant force on Magic Online. It just hasn't had a lot of success at the Premier event level. Oh, Magus of the Moon. Interesting.
So he has Choke and Magus of the Moon down,
Yes.
which has reduced Corey Burkhart to just
He's a little pinched on blue. Like the Mountain and the Swamp are going
Yeah.
to do some good work, but he has 1 blue mana once.
sack
this
that
point.
pedal. And that's a big deal, too, because Creeping Tar Pit was definitely one way that
Yes.
he's going to start applying pressure, and now he just really can't.
Yeah, those Creeping Tar Pits were going to clean this game up. And
Oh,
now
here's
they
a
just
Tarmogoyf.
aren't.
Wonder how big that is.
Jeez, I thought Corey had this.
This is
Magus
interesting.
of the Moon
This
was
is a big turning point here.
Surely he's got a way to kill it, though.
He's got a lightning bolt lined up here. Is this just kill Magus of the Moon, unlock all my mana,
Yeah.
6U, kill you, something along those lines? I mean, Corey's at 19. He can take some Tarmo hits. We're going to get the Tarmo graphic up for you. in
Yeah,
just
he has a block and loot with Jace available to him as well to buy a turn.
Gotta love that.
And Creeping Tar Pit chips away. Tarmogoyf's a 4/5. Make that 5/6 on attack.
Thanks to Exalted.
Corey does in fact block with Jace and loot, turning Jace into a Planeswalker that no longer takes any damage from Tarmogoyf.
By the way, these guys are playing very quickly, and I do appreciate that, given the sandwich situation that we're in here.
You would appreciate it even if it wasn't for the sandwiches.
It's true. It's true. Corey just continually keeping the ground clear. Tribute to Hunger.
Wow.
That is some business here. I think they're doing a quick Tarmogoyf check there, but that's only because there's life being gained here. And Pia and Kieran Nalara, that's just a one of, right?
Yeah. Oh, it was a 5/6, not a 4/5. They forgot about Liliana.
Yeah.
Tarmographic is both overstaying its welcome and incorrect.
And it looks like
But
that
that's
is
gonna
going to do it. Corey Burkhart just playing that value fiddle nonstop that whole entire game, taking advantage of the fact that Kyle stumbled on mana and then just 1-for-1ing and getting 2-for-1s after that, especially with Jace. I mean, that Jace bounced between the graveyard, the exile becoming a planeswalker, and his hand like 6 times. This thing was all over the place. And that is going to do it here for round 9.